Hi Libra. Welcome to your Taurus season reading, May 2024 reading. All information to work with me one-on-one is below, post-eclipse reading, as well as the Patreon link, which will be in the first link below. Give it at least 24 hours right now. That's how it's been coming out, but I guess just to be safe, 24 to 48 hours. Ooh. Look at you at the bottom, but not like really at the top of the bottom. Normally I don't get tripped up by that, so we'll take a look at that in a moment. So, how to maintain this Nine of Pentacles? You've been wondering, and not only just in depth in this relational era that we're in right now, this moment, this eclipse timeline, because we do have, you know, the lovely Aries here too, the Emperor, with all these things still in Aries. You know, if you are a Libra first house, more than likely your 7th house is going to be in Aries. So you've been taking a look at your, you know, maybe your values, your identity, and the ways in how you relate to yourself, and what brings you more into a relationship with yourself, like what helps you, right? So if that's what you've been thinking about, that's a part of your craft, right? That's a part of whatever you're putting energy into, because one of the things that I wrote down for Libra's sun or rising for our energy that in those strong placements, even moon, as we gather all the information, it's always around us. It's lingering, it changes. That's why it's like some people don't get Libras, because like, why are they, because we're so apt to change if it's gonna, sorry, my cat's knocked this over last time, so I'm just gonna hold it so that they don't, because they're having a lot of fun today. And I hope that we do too, of course, but we still gotta get down to business. So yeah, maintaining this, right, is not really in your control, but what is? Like, what is actually in your control? You know, actually, but I'm going to pull that card up again with the next couple of cards. So from the 8 to the 9, it's, you know how hard you're working, and though on the outside it looks not so much, but you stand next to what you've built. You stand next to what you're attached to, what you're acquiring, and what you've acquired, and what you've grown in this life. So that's a part of your identity, right? And that's okay. And now you're starting to look at the relationship with that. Like, how much do you show that behind the scenes, and how much is shown externally? Well, one would think, as you do, is that look at how easy or quick, or look at how much I'm able to shift and change, right? For, you know, for those of you who are in this thinking process about this, I know that you don't mind being here sometimes, and I know this is like almost an enjoyable thing. It's not about how others perceive you. It's more of just like, if that's the way you're being perceived, right, you're like, well, look at all the phases I've been through, and where am I presently? You know, what's happening presently? Even if the past few months I've been kind of pulled back, and now you're seeing me, you're seeing the work that I've been doing for a while, maybe even years, maybe even just so deeply in it this past year, and it's that noticeable. So one of my kitties really needs me for a moment. Okay, she is in heat right now, so I may have to, sorry about that, I may have to get up a few times, but she does need me. Yeah, like, where are you needed? What's needed in these relationships? What's happening right now? Actually, let's do a little of adjusting. Okay. And then we have, yeah, and also take notice of what parts make you feel really tired, and or if some days you like things and some days you don't, where the acceptance is of just like, when are you more in your head? When are you really in flow? When are you learning something and changing? So something may feel like, even though in the past it may have not taken as long, in this moment it does. right? Because there's some reflection happening, you know, and this could be bringing up, you know, the parts of your ego too, where they are in one-on-one relationships, what's protected you essentially, and then also the relationship with your father, or the Saturn presence of like your day-to-day life, right? Your day-to-day, and how that's viewed as opposed to what the final product looks like, right? You start to, I know that sounds so simple the way that I'm putting it, but we're gonna talk about it more now, is that Mars is just asking you to say and, you know, do what you can control, of course, but then learn that detachment, right? Where is it in your life that you have such an emphasis of control over, or you feel like you do, that if you present yourself this way, you know, you may receive X, Y, and Z. Where in your life have you done that without looking for it and it happened? And where in your life have you done something for external validation, or you work so hard at something just for that, right? Where has it like almost fueled you, as opposed to what you're actually interested in, what it makes you more curious, what lights you up, really. And I know we've talked about this before, of course, but now take that even further. We have you on the bottom. Is, what does it look like in your relationships? How that affected your relationship with what you value, with the work that you put into people or things, not sure, always knowing and understanding that. And now that you are becoming less attached to that, there's a clearer view of how you go through things. That this style of attachment, and there are many, you know, you can get into if you follow psychology and whatnot, but really this attachment style comes from, you know, where you weren't given that attention at some time in your life, or you only got a certain amount of attention from this person. Could be a masculine father figure, someone who holds high esteem over your ego, someone who has, you know, always tried to get you to see their way no matter what, whether, and can't agree to disagree with you almost. It's a very headstrong person. And now what's being revealed to you is that through this deeper relationship with what it is that you are curious about, learning about, putting your energy into, whether it's your own business, a side thing, a hobby, not just a hobby, a passion, right? Go even further, a passion. Something that regardless if you can see, obviously, where you've put the work in, you know, and you have this healthy attachment to that with you. Because no matter what, that's what we're going to need, and that's what you're always going to need, and that's always kind of what we're searching for. Because in those times where we needed it, at those, you know, big moments at various ages, this one person couldn't just give you that to affirm you and assure you, right? And now sitting with that, right? The Nine of Pentacles, she sits with them, with her, you know, her fruits behind her, and then we have the High Priestess that sits with her fruits behind her, but that's intuitive. High Priestess shows the fruit of the pomegranate, which is a resemblance of the brain and also been linked to helping the intuition. So maybe you have naturally, I'm one of these people who have found myself craving pomegranate the past few years, like up until I learned that, and I'm still loving that fruit as well. Or that flavor, right? That juice. What you're beginning to realize is that you can healthily have these relationships, with your ego, with this person, and not feel like you have to prove something. It's not only it's not only acceptance for like where you're at in the relationship, but it's I've been hearing that too much. And it's focusing on this relationship with yourself that you've been creating stability over. And unfortunately, you're just not in the business, and you're nailing down something where you can't be fucked with on your own decision, right? If you decide not to do something knowing that a person is going to be here, a situation is going to be here, it would be best for you not to do it, especially if it's public. Awesome. But if you accepted, maybe you have to see this person at a big family event, or maybe it's a work person that you can't like hide from this event, you just allow that situation to approach itself. And before then, you should be getting obvious examples around you or within your life somehow, especially if you really are sure. Life will bring you these examples either externally to see it, and you'll notice that you're acknowledging this moment and it feels like it's for a greater cause, right? We always, there's a lot of times in our lives that we're being told to look externally. And I know you know that. The beauty, the intelligence, and now what we're getting into is the heart. What we're getting into is the heart of all the matters as well. We're in the middle of the eclipses, nearing the end in Libra and Aries for you. However, it's not about getting out unscathed, Libra. We don't want anything to be harmful to you. And it's about getting through things that could be even more harmful if you don't address these things, right? That's kind of how I've noticed things can escalate. It's like, oh, you haven't learned? Like, we're just going to make it in the way that you like to learn, but even harder, right? Instead of learning this lesson of acceptance of where you're at, where another person may be at, and you're just not compatible at this time. Which, if we bring it back, like there's something within you that you're not compatible with, maybe. That's a way to look at it. If you're always looking externally, maybe look at yourself. And if you're always looking at yourself, the reason why I say this to Libras is because it's like really a drastic one way or the other for some reason, and we have to be reminded to look elsewhere or within ourselves, depending on which side that you sway on more so. So if you're looking externally, you're finding yourself maybe more quiet, and you're observing the life around you, and all of a sudden you hear a conversation you didn't mean to hear. It wasn't eavesdropping. You're just hearing something that is reminding you of what could be approaching you soon, of what maybe you have to do with your life. And it's this I'm not fucking around right now mentality, but at the same time it's like, yeah, I'm fucking around. Like, it's it's like your business, where business needs to be handled, is being handled. So therefore, on the opposition, you're able to have an external life as well. You just still may find yourself more introspective because you're seeing yourself differently. You're seeing a lot. You're feeling a lot. You're noticing a lot change. You're noticing what you're filtering is changing, how that filter is shifting as well. And what is, there's so many major arcanas out. I know that there will be moments where you may feel like you may be in the dark about some things. She needs to come sit with me. This is how it fell out. I know, sweetie. I know. Where your desire, right? We'll use Cece as an example, like your desire for love or attention or affection. And even though it's like very much this animalistic, obviously very animalistic trait and something that is necessary and needed, it's going to be in this, especially Venus and Taurus, right? We have Venus going into Taurus, woo. And that will feel like maybe a relief on all the pressure because maybe you felt this change, not only because this eclipse is it's expanded for sure, but it also, if you have those, greater planets in those signs, it's a lot more, right? So now we have an extra Aries card out, but it's also the card that's saying, take a leap of faith. Take a leap of faith. And I would say that it's probably on yourself. Take a leap of faith. Taurus season has got you, right? But like, again, like Taurus season's got you and it wants you to dream for sure. Like, this is about also what's held you back from attaining that dream of like, yeah, I got all this and like, I'm good, I'm fine. I got all this else in life. I have a way in life. I have my way with life, right? Even if you're able to acquire all the things that you've wanted, your energy now more than ever is wanting to be expressed. You want to be expressing yourself, and maybe it is taking a leap of faith on yourself. And maybe that leap of faith is exiting any, and we've said this before, but any relationship, any person that just doesn't measure up right now. Like, you could be like, it's all right. Like, I'll deal with that. It's all right. I think I was avoiding acknowledging this. And taking that moment, like, this is like literally a leap. That's why I keep saying leap of faith. Like, I don't use that often. But it's also this moment in time where you can, maybe this is really within the mind and the heart, and this is a very contemplative moment of like, this leap of faith is about me, right? These conversations, these things that I'm doing are about me. That's the very Aries-ness coming in, right? I was just watching Alice in Wonderland last night. It's like that muchness. It's when Hatter says to Alice, like, you've lost your much. Like, used to be much muchier, right? I do like the I like the Johnny Depp version. It's funny, I think Tim Burton did it, so like I like his version. I do. And you're finding that this muchness that you're missing, or that this, or mojo, I like that word too. It's just looks different. It's coming through you differently. There's a maturity that's happening in a way that is also very you, and you're seeing this uniqueness come through, and you realize that muchness is also, hey girl, what are you doing? Huh? She throws up easily, so I don't want to scare her, but she's not supposed to do that. She just wants my attention. I know, sweetie. I know. You want to sit? Can you sit still? Can you sit still? Come on. I'm sorry. I was distracted, worried about her. I really appreciate you understanding. I'm not someone who, I would edit, but I don't like to edit too much, sweets. No, sweetie. Huh? No. Okay. All right. Come on. It's okay. I just like to put her on something soft. The cats love the cards. So this part of you, this muchness that we were saying, it requires you to let go of these things. The reason why you may feel like it's coming back is because you're addressing really important contracts that you've developed in your life with yourself and with life as well. Like, you have developed these relationships. Like, this has happened on also your account. So it's partially you also taking accountability for your life. And it feels so, especially for where you're at, right? I was thinking about the chakra system, the very simple 7 line up and down. And like, if you have heart, sure, you can speak up for yourself. But if you don't have the confidence, the deep rooted confidence in yourself, regardless if you say it wrong, it will be misinterpreted. Like, meaning like maybe you say something the wrong way. It will be less misinterpreted than just saying something without a deep rooted confidence in that. You can be vulnerable and still confident about it, which means doing the vulnerable thing. That's where the confidence is acquired. So if you need to do that at this time, and that's what this is for you, it's because you're connecting it within yourself, and you know, and this is the Libra, this is a beautiful thing about you, is when, especially in this term, and take this for what you will, but especially if it feels ugly, like it feels like, ugh, like you're disgusted by it with yourself and how you've maybe adopted that from someone, and that's why you see it in them. If it is a mirror, could be a projection as well. Either way, it's something that you notice and you realize, and it doesn't have to be that specific feeling. I was just using it as an example. But once you connect it, you almost feel like, ugh, like I can't believe that this was happening, right? And then all of a sudden, you become this adventurer. You're not just, it's not just something you put on when you travel. It's not something that you put on when you're in a specific role. It's more of, okay, I've realized that I like this, and this is a part of me now. Like, this is what I'm entering next. This is what I'm going for. This is the stability that I need. I need to be able to be so stable within myself that the decisions I make, I trust that if it's supposed to, it really will come back. You know? It was like Absalom saying to her when he became a butterfly, or they became a butterfly, and all of a sudden in Alice's conscious life, she is seeing the butterfly, because it literally, and I know we talk about this a lot, but it literally dies to become something new. It trusts the process. Well, it doesn't have to think about it. It's instinct, and that's Aries. You trust, it's trusting your thoughts and your actions and your feelings and how they're aligning, and how that's the fruit of learning yourself, of knowing yourself, is being in touch with yourself, especially when it's harder. Especially when there's so much like coming for you and looking for, and I said that Taurus too is the Venus signs. I mean, like, there's so much abundance, but you have to, there's a muscle strengthening to do here too. Okay, 3 cards. It looks like it's 2, 3, 3. It's time to close out a chapter somewhere too. It could be physically moving on from a job, a home, or a town. There's something physical about this, but it's also linked to the mental. Mentally, you can't bring it with you. You have to bring what works for this next chapter in your life, to put it so simply. And that's what you're also discovering with this 3 of Swords. 3 of Swords to 7. Quickly, that's a fortunate thing, but sometimes it lacks integration. This is the journey of moving through this is the integration. This is where you say, I'm not the same as I was. I'm still gonna slay and get it done. I'm still gonna kill it. I'm still gonna nail it. But can I be with myself through this vulnerability? Because for some reason it feels like it's been a while, or maybe it really has been a while since you've made a move in this way, because it seems like this leap of faith is working out, but you know what that requires of you. But maybe things will change in a way where your voice, you feel like you're listening to your voice and your voice is hearing you back, and all of a sudden it's not just an echo or an echo that you're hearing everywhere. You're seeing how you're implementing and how that's shifting your dynamics and who you interact with and how you interact with them. And you're trusting this natural intuitive instinct, and you're calling it intelligence, and it is intelligence. And it's because you're allowing yourself this time, right? A month to someone, and most people say nowadays, is like, oh my God, it's going so fast. I do my best that whenever I do feel that way, or I actually connect with that statement, I'm like, how do I make it slower? How do I engage with my life? I don't want things to go by fast right now. I personally, this is a personal thing, I just feel like I need a little time to be with this moment where I now am with my life and expanding with it. And I don't want to rush all of the moments that happen. I don't want to rush being seen or heard. I don't want to rush anything anymore. Yet I'm still learning. So when I show up in that way, I accept and trust the next phase of that, of engaging what I know is going to actually be effective in here in the situation, instead of just using the sword that I have to make a boundary clear, giving time and space to allow the shifts to happen, instead of like, this is it, right? Where in your life have you said like, well, this is just me, right? Or this is just how I am. No, give yourself some opportunity and room to make the changes that you need to, and surprise yourself. Maybe you're going to surprise others, maybe in a positive way, maybe in a negative way, but you can't take that forward unless it's important to you, unless this person or the situation, if you don't want to break, it's not about burning bridges, it's just about staying maybe staying connected. Maybe you do want to do business with them in the future. Maybe you could see that happening. Maybe you want to be able to, if it's like a certain place, you want to be able to still go back there, or you want to be able, whatever it is. Regardless if you love certain people that you work with, you like the company, or you like, certain things about it, you still want to have this relationship, and saying it in like the longest fucking way ever. But yeah, so you're hearing the pattern, right? You're hearing the colors of the wind. You're hearing that it's time that you take what you like, just it's like being at, I don't gamble, but I imagine it's like being at the gambling table and you knowing, okay, it's time to go. Like, this will be too much of a risk if I continue here at this time on my end, right? You may hold a lot of the weight in the table, but in this space, it's not comfortable at this time. You can feel that it's not the right time to show your cards, just to use the metaphor. And thus you begin to enter a safer space with yourself, a safer space with your knowing. And this connection before we hit Gemini season, where the floodgates of the air open, and where you also notice, we'll get into the next part too, where you notice that you may be playing small or settling in this area. What can cause that, Taurus season things like, where's the luxury, where's the lack of, where do you need to make sacrifice, where are you sacrificing something or procrastinating, but we'll get down to like, okay, well, why? Like, what is this? What are you afraid of? Right? We're gonna start talking a little bit more, which we do, but I really like this. I hope this was helpful for you. It definitely was for me. It was less emotional than last month. Not saying it won't be emotional this month, but I think you are having this relationship with your emotions. We don't have a lot of cups here, so it's like now you're in the field of trusting those emotions and connecting it, right? You're using it like the arcanas or road signs in the dark, so there's a lot of light to gather. There's a lot to gather here in Taurus season. which doesn't mean you can't do and make moves, and don't take that like too serious, but you are gathering. But if you don't let go of some things or produce or let, you know, allow some things to like be out of you, you're gonna be like slowing yourself up. You know what I'm saying? We'll get more into that next. Love you. Ooh.